Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it's going to be a POV video from my Reflux Sorc. I'm playing the casting version of it. If you're interested in the build, check out the timestamps down below. I go through the skills, tripods in depth, so you can pretty much copy and paste the build to try it out for Valtan hard mode. It's a really fun build, I highly recommend it.
Dear light, may you give me strength!
So first of all, let's talk about the build itself. So I used the max roll.gg's build for Reflux Sorc for the casting version. However, I did tweak a couple of skills and runes as well, because Valtan Gate 2 requires more counters, so I swapped out one of the abilities. But first of all, let's go through the abilities. You can copy and paste this real quick if you're interested in using the build and copying the tripod. So here's Blaze. I use Squall. There's no tripods here, so it's level 1. For Punishing Strike, here are the tripods. For Ice Shower, up to skill level 7. Esoteric Reaction. Rhyme Arrow. Explosion. And Doomsday. And for my Awakening skill, I'm using Viscous Might. But that pretty much covers my abilities, and let's talk about skill points real quick. I totally understand if you don't have the same amount of skill points, you're still grinding, you're still working on it, so you can definitely lower the skill points on these abilities. So I'm going to lower this to 10, and let's say you don't even have enough skill points in order to make these skills 10. You can leave your Squall at level 1, you can leave Ice Shower at level 1 as well. And if you're still struggling on skill points, you can lower Esoteric Reaction and Rhyme Arrow by a couple points each. Make sure you have at least enough points for the second level tripods. So hopefully you have enough skill points after that, but if you have to lower something else, well, you just have to lower something else. But let's talk about the skills itself. So first of all, for Blaze, I like to use the Bleed rune. It's really easy to inflict the bleed stacks. The next 3 abilities are pretty important, and it's important that you have Gale Wind for Explosion, Doomsday, and Punishing Strike. If you only have 2 Gale Winds, prioritize Explosion and Doomsday, because for Punishing Strike, the cast time is pretty short. It's not that short, but it's shorter than Explosion and Doomsday. So prioritize these 2 instead for Gale Wind. For my next ability, which is Squall, and I'm going to talk about Ice Shower. So I like to use Rage Runes here for additional move speed percentage for a chance at it. But if you don't have Rage, what you can substitute it for is for Iron Wall and also Protection. So as you can see here, for Iron Wall, you get negative 8% damage received, and also for Protection, you gain a 5% max HP shield. So both of them are pretty useful, especially if you miss the counter and you get hit by the boss. So those are 2 other good options. Otherwise, you can also use something like a Wealth rune for the specialty meter to increase the bar down here. So that's pretty good as well. For my other 2 skills, for Rhyme Arrow and Esoteric Reaction, I like to use Quick Recharge for lower cooldown times, but you can also substitute it for other things as well. For example, you can use Rage, you can also use Wealth here. If you have Gale Winds, I guess you can use that as well. So it's pretty much optional, but that pretty much covers my runes. Like I mentioned before, I took out one of my abilities, and the ability that I took out was Frost Call. So originally this was in the build, however for Valtan Gate 2 I swapped it out for Ice Shower, and the main reason why I took Ice Shower is because for Valtan Gate 2 you will want to counter. This is an additional counter ability. Yes, I know you have Squall, however I don't like using Squall because more often than not it has this weird timing where you need 1.5 second prep time in order for it to actually cast and hit the boss in order to hit the counter. And usually I miss that. So by taking Ice Shower, I can use Squall and Ice Shower in order to hit the counter, and I usually get it every single time. And on top of it, I think Ice Shower is actually better for the counter than Squall because when I use Ice Shower, it feels like it's an instant cast. And the two tripods that I'm taking for Ice Shower is Agile Cast, which increases the cast speed, and also Tenacity. At first, I was using wide angle attacks to have a bigger range for the counter radius. However, more often than not with Valtan, I would still hit the counter and get knocked back. So I recommend that you use Tenacity just so you don't get knocked back in case you fall off the stage or have bad positioning. But for the most part, you can pick and choose what you want to use. You don't have to use Ice Shower. You can just stick with Squall if you're good at hitting the counter in the first place. But having a second additional counter really changes up how you play the build. Because for Valtan Gate 2, you will focus on the counter throughout the fight and also in the ghost phase. If one of your teammates misses a counter, you can always reposition yourself with your blink ability and hitting the counter in order to help them as backup. So it's pretty nice having two counters, especially for this fight. Alright, so let's talk about my items and my engravings. So currently I am 1447, I have a plus 18 weapon, and I think the rest of my armor is probably around 17. Yes, everything is 17 except for my weapon, which is 18. And I'm using legendary gear, and for my engravings I am 4x3 currently. If you want to try out this build and you only have enough gold to try out a 3x3, I highly recommend Reflux, All Out Attack, and Precise Dagger. All Out Attack is definitely a must because it increases your casting speed animation by 20% and increased damage by 20%. You have to have this one. The next engraving that you should get is either Precise Dagger, or you can swap this out for Adrenaline. Adrenaline probably does more damage, however you have to maintain its stacks. You have to maintain 6 stacks, but sometimes when you're fighting Valtan, there are times where you have long animations where you just have to kite his abilities and it's longer than I believe 6 seconds when it runs out. But for the most part, Precise Dagger, even though you get a penalty of negative 12%, I didn't really have too much issues with damage. Sometimes I'm still on the MVP board for the most part with people around my item level, but you can pick and choose what you want to do between Precise Dagger and Adrenaline. For Reflux Sorcs, you can always reposition yourself, so it's pretty nice there. And for Valtan Gate 2, you can always reposition yourselves to help out the team, whether it may be to grab orbs, maybe to dodge abilities in a blink of an eye, or to just blink in front of the boss in order to hit counter. So it's a pretty fun build to play with, especially for Valtan. You can help out the team in many ways. And I feel like it's really fun to play. I really like playing highly mobile characters. I like having skills off cooldown. Some players don't like that because they feel like it's spammy, but I rather have more abilities to cast rather than just run around the whole time waiting for my abilities to go off cooldown. That's just my personal preference. But that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in playing Reflux Sorc, I highly recommend it. It's a really fun build to play. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. But that's pretty much it from me. Good luck to you guys on your Valtan runs, and I'll catch you guys next time in another video for Lost Ark. Peace.